But things took a turn when Madalena started sending flirty WhatsApp messages, pairing her sweet and playful words with mischievous winks and charming smiles whenever they crossed paths at school. It was hard for Tudor to stay focused with all the attention she was giving him. Things escalated when Madalena opened up to Tudor about her unhappy marriage, hinting that she was considering leaving her husband. Tudor, always willing to lend an ear, became her go-to confidant, which only made her more determined to win him over. Hi there, and welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into another chilling real-life story. This time, it comes from the city of Suceava, Romania, where a case has caught the attention of netizens far and wide. A 25-year-old man was arrested for allegedly taking the life of a sports teacher, seemingly without any reason. At first glance, it looks like the two didn't even know each other, but as investigators dug deeper, it became clear this wasn't a simple case. In fact, the twists and turns in this story are so wild, they make a movie plot seem tame by comparison. So, what's the full story behind this case? Let's dive right in and uncover the details. Before we dive into the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you enjoy it, share it with your friends. So, here's the story. Madalena, a beautiful woman born in Botoșani in 1987, grew up in a family that valued education. Her mother was a math teacher in their hometown, and Madalena followed in her footsteps by graduating college in 2011 with a degree in English. She started teaching at a local junior high school before taking the civil service exam in Suceava in 2014. She passed, and by August 2015, she was officially a teacher at a junior high school there. I won't name the school, as some media outlets have chosen to keep it private to protect the institution's reputation. In Suceava, Madalena lived alone in a modest rented flat, only visiting her parents in the village once a month. Her colleagues often called her the beautiful teacher, or sexy teacher, because of her dedication to looking good. She wasn't just about makeup, she stayed fit through regular exercise. In December 2015, she met a man named Octavian at a fitness center. He was 2 years younger, and they hit it off right away. Their relationship blossomed quickly, with Octavian showing his love by picking her up from work and spending time with her. Madalena's colleagues, even the principal, became fond of him and often encouraged them to get married. They seemed like the perfect match, both attractive and fitness-focused. Madalena was thrilled about their relationship and bragged about Octavian to her family. By October 2016, they were engaged in Dorohoi, Octavian's hometown, in a ceremony with his parents present. But what seemed like a perfect love story soon turned into a nightmare. Just 2 weeks after their engagement, several women approached Madalena, each claiming to have been romantically involved with Octavian. One woman, Teodora, even said she had 2 children with him. Heartbroken, Madalena confronted Octavian for answers. But instead of facing her, he vanished. He sent a WhatsApp message ending their engagement, declaring there would be no wedding, and told her not to wait for him. Madalena tried reaching out to Octavian's parents, but they claimed they had no idea where he was. Suspicious, right? Left with no closure and a broken heart, Madalena had no choice but to accept her fate as single once again. It was especially humiliating since she'd already shared her wedding plans with everyone. Meanwhile, some of Madalena's fellow teachers at school tried their best to support her and help her move on. They reminded her there were plenty of better guys out there than Octavian. To lift her spirits, they often invited her to teacher gatherings in Suceava. At one of these meetups, she met Darius, a well-known and kind-hearted sports teacher who had been teaching at a private high school for nearly 4 years. Now, Darius wasn't as classically handsome as Octavian, but he had a warm personality, a great sense of humor, and an easygoing charm. Some of their colleagues decided to play matchmaker, introducing the two and encouraging them to exchange numbers. Madalena didn't mind giving Darius her number. She figured it couldn't hurt to have someone to chat with and fill her free time. Darius, however, wasn't just looking for casual chats. Encouraged by his and Madalena's friends, he stepped up his efforts to win her over. He took every opportunity to invite her out, and to everyone's delight, Madalena didn't turn him down. Eventually, His persistence paid off, and the two began officially dating. But behind the smiles, Madalena confessed to her best friend that her heart wasn't really in it. She admitted she was dating Darius more to appease her friends than out of genuine interest. "He's not my type," she said. "He's skinny, and I don't find him attractive. But oh well, at least they're happy." Adding to the pressure, her parents constantly nagged her to settle down, reminding her she was getting too old to stay single. Reluctantly, Madalena gave in. She and Darius got married in September 2017, when she was 30 and he was 29. But as they say, a marriage without love is a tough road. To Madalena, Darius felt more like a friend than a husband. She avoided intimacy, allowing only occasional touches, if that. Darius, understanding her past heartbreak, tried to be patient, believing she just needed time to heal and adjust. He maintained a cheerful facade in front of family, friends, and students, while Madalena kept up appearances, too. She told herself she needed time to learn to love him, though deep down, she wasn't sure it would ever happen. Sometimes, Madalena would confide in her principal, admitting she felt sorry for Darius. She wasn't sure how to open her heart again, and for now, it remained firmly closed. By December 2017, there was a new addition to the school where Madalena taught, a young sports teacher named Tudor, a 27-year-old transfer from another city. Tudor quickly gained a reputation as a devoted son who had earned a scholarship during college, making his parents proud. Within just a few weeks of teaching, he became a favorite among the students, known for his friendly demeanor and great sense of humor. It wasn't just the students who noticed him. Some of the female teachers were drawn to Tudor's sincere smile and playful personality, including Madalena. She felt her heart skip a beat whenever they shared a conversation or exchanged smiles. "Why now? Where were you before?" she often wondered. It didn't take long for her feelings to grow, even though she was married. Despite knowing she had a husband, Madalena couldn't help but feel jealous whenever another female teacher interacted with Tudor. Determined to get closer to him, she mustered up the courage to ask for his phone number, using school-related issues as an excuse to start chatting. Tudor found himself drawn to Madalena too. She had a natural charm and beauty that could make any man weak in the knees. But he reminded himself that she was married. He had even seen her husband, Darius, a few times at the school gate, dropping her off. Not wanting to cross any lines, Tudor kept his distance, until Madalena made the first move. She started sending flirtatious WhatsApp messages, pairing them with sweet smiles and playful winks whenever they met at school. Tudor tried to stay focused, but he found it harder and harder to ignore her. Things escalated when Madalena confided in him about her unhappy marriage and her desire to leave her husband. Tudor, always a good listener, couldn't help but be pulled deeper into her world. Before long, the two teachers fell into a secret relationship. After 2 months of hiding their romance, Tudor began to feel guilty. He didn't want to continue and told Madalena it was best for them to part ways. But Madalena was heartbroken. She cried and insisted that Tudor was the only one she loved. She admitted she was torn about ending her marriage, fearing she would disappoint not only her husband's family but also her colleagues, who had pushed for their union in the first place. Despite her fears, Madalena couldn't let go of Tudor. She promised him that she would ask Darius for a divorce if Tudor vowed to marry her afterward. Reluctantly, Tudor agreed, promising to be with the woman who had captured his heart. On February 19, 2018, around 9 p.m., Madalena didn't return home, claiming she was attending a friend's birthday party in the La Casbah area. She had called her husband, Darius, earlier to let him know she'd be home late. But by 11 p.m., Darius started to worry when her phone went straight to voicemail. He called several of her teacher friends, but none of them knew where Madalena was. In fact, they mentioned that as far as they knew, no one in their group was celebrating a birthday that night. At 11:40 p.m., the doorbell of their flat rang. When Darius opened the door, he was confronted by a large man wearing a black mask. Without hesitation, the intruder pulled out a gun and fired 8 shots at Darius before fleeing. Darius cried out for help, and neighbors rushed to his aid. Despite their efforts, The 30-year-old sports teacher was pronounced dead at the hospital. Madalina appeared devastated by her husband's sudden death. She sobbed as she delivered the heartbreaking news to her in-laws. The police began their investigation, but at first, the motive for the attack was unclear. Since nothing was stolen, they suspected the killing might have been fueled by a personal grudge. However, interviews with neighbors and friends painted a different picture. Darius was known to be kind, helpful, and free of debts or conflicts. He had no enemies, leaving investigators to consider the possibility that someone close to him, possibly even his wife, might have been involved. 4 days later, on February 23, 2018, a breakthrough came when a scavenger reported seeing the face of the masked intruder. The police created a sketch and distributed it widely. Soon, a tip came in suggesting the suspect looked like Lucian, a 25-year-old unemployed man from Dorohoi. On March 1, 2018, Lucian was arrested. His tall build matched the figure seen on CCTV near Darius's flat, and DNA evidence from the victim's door linked him to the crime. Though initially silent, Lucian was formally charged with Darius's murder. As the investigation continued, it became clear Lucian had no personal connection to Darius. The two had never met, and there was no apparent reason for Lucian to target him. Faced with the threat of severe punishment, Lucian eventually confessed that he had been hired by Madalina to kill her husband. Lucian revealed that he and Madalina had connected on Facebook, where he had posted about needing money desperately. Madalina reached out to him, and they began negotiating. Although Lucian initially refused, his financial struggles eventually pushed him to accept. The deal was for $13,000, but Madalina only transferred 20% up front to secure the arrangement and purchase a weapon. Armed with just a photo and Darius's address, Lucian carried out the plan. Madalina was arrested on March 5, 2018, while staying at her brother's house. She was shocked by the charges and immediately denied everything. However, the police confiscated her phone and began investigating. Although her messages had been deleted, they retrieved transcripts of her texts and call history from her provider. Faced with the evidence, Madalina could no longer deny it. The messages revealed her arrangement with Lucian to kill Darius, as well as her exchanges with her secret boyfriend Tudor, which exposed her motive: she wanted to marry Tudor. At her trial in the Suceava City High Court in early July 2018, Madalina finally confessed. She admitted that her marriage to Darius was loveless and had only happened to please her friends, calm her parents, who were worried she was still unmarried at 30, and silence those who mocked her after her fiancé had abandoned her. Feeling pressure from all sides, she said she married Darius just to stop the endless demands. Madalina claimed that Darius had been oblivious to her unhappiness. She even admitted to being intentionally harsh with him in hopes he would ask for a divorce, but he remained loyal and refused to leave her. When Tudor entered her life, she felt like she'd finally found peace. She fell for him hard, believing he was the emotional solace she had been searching for. But when their secret relationship reached its 3rd month, Tudor began pulling away, unwilling to continue the affair. Frustrated, Madalina decided to eliminate Darius. She admitted to the court that on the night of the murder, she intentionally stayed out to create an alibi. She parked her car in a city park until midnight and insisted that Tudor had no knowledge of her plan. Tudor later testified as a witness, claiming he had no idea about Madalina's arrangement with Lucian. He said Madalina had promised to divorce Darius amicably and that he had believed her. He admitted they had been secretly dating and even confessed to having inappropriate relations with her in hotel rooms, and once, to his deep regret, in a classroom after school hours. Through tears, Tudor apologized to Darius's family, acknowledging that his involvement with Madalina had indirectly contributed to her actions. In the final verdict on July 21, 2018, both Madalina and Lucian were found guilty of conspiring to murder Darius. They were sentenced to life imprisonment, with the possibility of parole after serving at least 20 years. A month later, Tudor and Madalina faced another trial, this time for their misconduct as teachers. The school prosecuted both, resulting in their teaching licenses being permanently revoked. Tudor received a 4-month prison sentence for his inappropriate behavior, while Madalina received an additional 5 months, as she was deemed the instigator. What lessons can we learn from this story? Comment below.